Hi guys, this is Nikki Rowland and today I'm making a layout for Hip Kit Club. It's my first layout with the May kits, which I'm really excited to use. I just love the bright colours, what a wonderful kit this is. And today I'm inspired by the mood board, so the May mood board. I've actually already made a layout with the May mood board earlier in the month for one of the challenges, the Friday challenges. So I've had to use this mood board for a second time. And therefore I've had to look at things in a slightly different way. So last time I was inspired by various elements on the mood board, but today I've gone for the squares. So I really loved the squares on the image, and I loved this square paper by the Stamp Market. And I thought I would therefore do something with the squares. So I have, what I'm starting off by doing is trimming my white cardstock down to 11.5 inches square, and then I've distressed the edges and I'm sticking it onto the pink frame that was the Stamp Market paper. I cut all the squares out of the middle, so I roughly cut them out in one large piece, and now I'm going to spend some time cutting out individually every single one. And there was also a journaling card to match from the Pocket Life kit, so I've cut out all the squares from there as well. So I've distressed the edges of all of them, and now I've come to stick them down. So arranging squares like this can be a bit tricky because I wanted to make sure I had them in the right place, and once you've stuck one, it's hard to know whether to get the spacing right, that kind of thing, and making sure that it's equidistant from the top and the sides. So I just tacked my squares in place slightly with a small amount of tape, and then arranged them all, and then when I was happy with the positioning, then I stuck them all down properly. But I distressed the edges of all of them and the middle squares, the little squares as well, and I've layered the little squares on top of the big squares on a colour on colour method. I spent a little bit of time just then cutting out some of the big blooms on one of the Stamp Market papers, and they're all kind of cut out now. I think there's a few that I didn't think that I would use, but the big blooms I wanted to use, and the three smaller ones. So I've gone and done that, and now I'm just going to layer those blooms under my photos. So just to explain my photos, I have my little boy who's, well, not very little, he's 7. He's out in the garden, and we're homeschooling at the moment because of the pandemic. And one of his online schoolwork tasks was to do an art lesson, and his art lesson was to go outside, collect natural materials and make a picture. And it wasn't like a picture on a piece of paper, it was to be made like on the grass or just outside. So thankfully it was a nice sunny day. And he went around and picked all my flowers from the garden, and lots of leaves as well, and he created this fantastic piece of artwork on our grass. So it was a bit of a shame that it had to be moved and dismantled, that's what I was looking for, after it was done. But he spent a good couple of hours doing it. He was really happy and really enjoyed doing it. So I managed to snap some photos of him actually doing it, and then of course the finished article. So that's what this is, and the colours go beautifully, and the big floral blooms is why I've chosen to use those, because it goes really well with the photos and story that I'm scrapbooking today. Okay, so I'm pretty much happy with my big flowers behind my photos. So now I wanted to bring in some pops of black. I just love how that looks, and with these lovely soft cool tones, I thought that the pops of black would really make things stand out. So I had that long scalloped border sticker from the 5th and Monaco stickers, and I've trimmed it down. So I've got a couple of pieces at the bottom underneath the squares, and then I've cut one to go under each of my photos as well. So it just brought in that little bit of extra drama. I love pops of black. I think it just makes such an impact. So that's what I've done there. So now I'm happy with how everything's looking. I'm happy with where the black bits are. I'm just going to get my photos stuck down and my blooms stuck down properly. They were just tacked in place. So I'm going around putting foam pads under the tops of my photos, and also under all of the flowers that are poking out from around my photos. I like my embellishments to have lots of dimension. So where the leaves and the flowers are sticking out from the photos, I'm raising all of those bits on foam pads. They're stuck flat under the photos, but they're raised at the edges. It just makes them look like they're kind of enveloping my photos. It probably doesn't translate very well to video screen or even to flat images, but in real life I think it looks really, really lovely. Okay, so I was really brave, and those fabulous Maggie Holmes Sweet Story flowers that are just so beautiful, only 3 in a packet, probably super duper expensive, but I was like, this is their flower layout and it's perfect to use. They're the sort of embellishment that are so special that I feel that I have to wait until I have the perfect photos, the perfect layout, and can justify using them, because they're so beautiful and obviously a fairly high price point. So they're the sort of thing that I would save and then never use, which is ridiculous. So I'm really trying to focus my mind this month and every month and use my favorite things as soon as I get them. So because I did the same last month with the rainbow paper, it was my favorite paper, and guess what, it's unused. I did use one sheet to cut a cut file, but that doesn't count. So I'm still waiting to make a layout with that fantastic rainbow paper that I love so much. But because it's so special, I haven't used it, and therefore I'll probably now never use it. So that's a silly thing to do. So I am going to try my hardest to combat that, front load it, and grab my favourite products and use those first. So that's what I've done here. I've got 2 of those flowers on this layout. I'm determined to use them, and I mustn't forget to use the other one at some point as well. Okay, so that's today's life lesson. Moving on to what I'm doing on my layout. I've added some butterflies, just one at the moment. I think it's the it's not, it's a Vicky Boutin one from the ephemera pack. I've also gone through the Stamp Market ephemera, and obviously it coordinates beautifully with the paper I'm using, the squares. The perfect colours, I mean. So I have added a couple of tabs. One says today, and then one says captured, and they are placed in the colour on colour format that I'm working on. I really liked this adventure piece of ephemera that I've just put to the left of my photos. Everything in life is an adventure, so I think the word adventure goes with any photo. So I just really liked it. It was colourful, and I just liked the way it was stacked. So I just cut the top piece off because it was a bit too tall, and yeah. I think you saw some little hands there. My little one, who is nearly 2, hasn't been very well this week, so he's been joining me a lot on my scrapbooking table. It's also caused some fairly major havoc, and it's right next to me now as well, so you might hear him in a minute. So sorry about that. He doesn't interfere too much, I don't think, with this layout. Oh, a little bit there. He wanted to feel the middle of that fantastic flower. Okay, so I've added the tabs. I have another small label sticker over on the right hand side that is for me to put my date into. So now I am just adding my titles. So I wasn't quite sure what to call this layout. I wanted to say something about his artwork, so I've decided to go for amazing art. And I'm taking the word amazing from the 5th and Monaco little puffy phrase stickers. So I have the word amazing on there in black, and I loved the black because I wanted it to have pops of black in this layout, so that went really well. And the word art I've done from the thickers, the really gorgeous pink paisley thickers. They are kind of holographic foil on foam. Sorry about the extra sound effects there. He's obviously excited to start his career as a YouTuber. Okay, so I've got my amazing art title in place there. I'm just adding some little label stickers from the Stamp Market little label stickers. One says inspire creativity, which is obviously ideal, and there's another one at the top of the second photo that says love my colourful life, and that obviously works well as well. I've also added in one of the Amy Tangerine Picnic in the Park bows. I love those bows. They're paper bows. I do love a bow generally, so these are really lovely bright colours. I love the bright colours, so I went for a bright yellow one next to the big flower, and then I just felt that my where I had extended the black at the bottom, I felt like I needed to extend the black at the top a little bit as well. It just looked a little bit off balance. So I found another one of the label kind of arrow labels from the Stamp Market ephemera, and it says note, so I've just added that at the top, and I feel that that gives a balance for the black bits, one at the top and then some at the bottom, so it was a good balance. And then I added my journaling at the bottom, and that again extended the design all the way down to the bottom of the page, so I then felt I needed to add something at the top of the page to extend it all the way to the top, so I had that balance. This layout is a very balanced layout because it has the very specific and perfectly spaced grid in the middle, so I just wanted to make sure I did maintain that balance on the layout and for it not to look off. So as well as the enamel dots I added there, they're from Fifth and Monaco. They're fabulous, aren't they? The black ones I used. I also added some drops of Indian ink too. Okay, that is me done. Thank you very much for joining me today. I hope you have enjoyed this layout and also will be inspired by our May Moodboard, which is really, really beautiful and has lots of fun things. Don't forget, if you are a Hip Kit Club subscriber, you get the main kit at a reduced price, a 15% discount off all add-on kits, and you get access to exclusive cut files too. Okay, thank you for joining me. That was Niki Rowland for Hip Kit Club. Happy scrapping!